Shazam stars Zachary Levi as Billy Batson, kid searching for his family, but who finds a superpower-granting wizard instead. We've seen plenty of movies where kids' brains are in adult bodies, but they don't usually have superpowers. DC is trying to board the fun train. Are they on the right track? Well, here's 5 things you might want to know about Shazam. Sometimes people are just perfect for roles. This, since Ryan Reynolds did Deadpool, is the best combination of actor and superhero I've ever seen. I really enjoyed this movie. Let's get into the details. So much of it has to do with Zachary Levi. He is doing such great work here, and he defines this role. I have loved him since Chuck. I have enjoyed him in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel this last year, and wherever he pops up, I always find joy, and this movie is no different. It's almost as if it's built into him. I think the movie, in much the same way as Deadpool, really benefits because it just kind of takes Zachary Levi's genetic makeup and makes it a part of the film in general. So instead of him having to, squeeze himself into something, it allows for the movie to become the perfect vehicle and this character to become the perfect vehicle for him. There's lots of reasons this movie works, and we're going to get into some of them, but almost all of them have to do with Mr. Levi. The first thing the movie takes advantage of is his childlike enthusiasm. There's just a joy to what he's doing here that is contagious. You almost can't help it. Now, if you're the hardest-hearted cynic that there is, maybe you can roll your eyes at this, but there's something so authentic and real about the optimism and joy of this kid getting to be a superhero that it's so fun to go along for the ride. In this movie, almost all the way through, has a very childlike perspective, which is interesting. So many movies now, even ones that are made for the whole family, really come from an adult viewpoint. This one absolutely comes from the viewpoint of the age of the children who are in it. And I think that is not only wonderful and joyful, like we've talked about, but it also is what helps to override any of the flaws that may come from taking something too seriously. Or there are moments in this movie that I don't necessarily want to spoil, that when you separate yourself from them as an adult, you go, okay, that doesn't make any sense. But when you're in that childlike perspective, it actually does make sense. And it's how a child would view it. I just absolutely love that about this film. One of the other aspects of Zach's personality that I think really comes out here is his sense of humor. This movie is so in line with who he is as a person and what I've seen him in real life that I think it just feels frictionless, right? I laughed so much during this movie. If you go watch him in Chuck, what's interesting is he's pretty much playing the same adult child in Chuck as he is in this movie, because that's his personality, and it's so funny. You know who also is really funny is Jack Dylan Grazer, who is the best friend in this movie. Man, I think if you don't find somebody at that age who can just keep up with Zach Levi and what he's doing and the reactions, I think this is a whole different movie. And I think because you have that 1-2 punch of this adult who is a child and this child who is a child having the same sense of humor and being sarcastic and funny with each other, it just works. Laugh after laugh after laugh. This is a good time. And can we talk about the message? I know, I'm the theme guy. It ain't what it seems if you ain't got those themes. This is definitely a movie that has a consistent, well-stated, important, and meaningful theme. Thank you. Congratulations. The theme about family here, what it is, what it means to find community, what it means to find people who love you, and how we have to search for those in different places as human beings. The idea of what it means to grow up versus not grow up and how that relates to family and community and love is fascinating here. And not only is it fascinating, but it's meaningful. And there were a couple times where it got a little bit dusty, and they always were kind enough to break it with a laugh, and I appreciate that. But this is a meaningful movie, and I'm always going to appreciate that. I really did have such a great time with this movie. The only thing I can think to warn about, we'll give this a yellow, other than the silliness, if you can't get over that, I think the monsters and the violence in this movie are really scary. In not just as scary in a family movie kind of way, but really evil and dark. And there's some stuff that happens in here that you would see in a monster movie like Godzilla or Jurassic Park or something like that, that I think I'm ready for, and it feels a little more PG-13. But this one feels like it stretches it in a way that I wasn't ready for. And maybe that's just the joy and exuberance and, like I said, the childlike parts of this movie that make you expect that to be tamed down a little bit more. For me, didn't really bother me. I think I can live in both worlds, and for many others that's true as well. I think if you go with your family, you may be aware that your younger kids are possibly going to be a little more scared with this, which is unfortunate because the rest of it is so childlike, as mentioned. So that was the only thing I can think really to warn about. Overall, though, I had such a blast with this movie. Shazam is fun, clever, interesting, and really owes a lot to the humor and presence of Zachary Levi. It was good enough for me to land at an A-. Thanks for checking out this SiftPop 5 Things review. Try to do one of these every week for SiftPop.com. Lots to check out there at the website. Go to SiftPop.com if you want to check out articles, best ever challenges, which, by the way, we'll get to the best ever challenge for this week here in a second. All that kind of stuff pops up there. If you've thought about writing or reviewing, let us know. We really see this as a community to give people a start, to give people some hands-on practice and training with writing about pop culture and what that looks like and what that means. So just let us know. Go to SiftPop.com for more information on that. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. The SiftPop podcast is a weekly podcast. Just search for it if you're a podcast person. Should be able to find it. SiftPop. SiftPop is how you spell SiftPop. And also thank you for your support as a member of SiftPop at Patreon. You go to patreon.com/SiftPop. Starts at $3 a month, and there's some really fun perks that come along with it. And thank you so much. It means the world to us. We actually could not do what we do without our amazing members who support it. So thank you. All right, on to the best ever challenge, where you name the best movie ever in a particular category. Also try to identify my choice. Let's do best ever body swap movies. In fact, let's make sure we understand what I mean by this. I don't mean an actual swap. I mean when your body is swapped out, like new body movies. Shazam isn't technically swapping with somebody else. It's just a different body that he's in. So that's what we're talking about. New body movies, body swap movies in that way. And once you look at it like that, I really think there's one choice. You would never think of it as a body swap movie, but maybe once you watch it, there's something there that wasn't there before that you see. Take a guess at mine in the comments. First person to get it right does get that point. As always, I'll give you a few extra seconds to hit subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you hit that alert bell if you want to see the new videos when they come out. All you got to do is click the logo.